Everyone, welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody. I am joined alongside my special guest and good friend, Adam Kinross from Kinney Games. And victory in Sin City. It's week 5 of the NFL, and the Bears are now 3-2 after a 20-9 victory against the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas. Bears were all over the place today. Justin Fields was running for his life at one point. Derek Carr could not hit a target for his life because they either were dropping the ball or they're overthrown. Did not look like the fantasy god of Derek Carr for the first 3 weeks of the season. It looks like he's come back down to earth. And this was the game of the Khalils, Mack and Herbert. They were the MVPs for today for the Chicago Bears. But before we dive into it, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Stupid Car Tray. Stupid Car Tray continues to save the day. Celebrate today's Bears victory with a deep dish from Lou Malnati's, but make sure it gets home safe and secure thanks to the Stupid Car Tray. Get 60% off your entire order with code JAY, that's J16 at checkout, and the link in the description. Adam, welcome back to the show. Victory Sunday. We are drinking, my friend.
Yeah, we're drinking, man. I mean, we won the game, right? It's just like I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Like, I want to celebrate the victory. It just doesn't feel like a Bears victory. It feels like the Raiders lost that game more than the Bears won that game. I'm still excited. We got the W. We beat a 3-1 team. We are over 500, which is fantastic. But it just doesn't feel like the Bears really went out and like grabbed that win by the horns.
I watch the game with my dad every Sunday, if he's available or if I'm available. And I said to him in the third quarter, I was like, I feel like this game's kind of boring. Like, it just was like penalty after penalty, 3 and out after 3 and out. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel this. A victory's a victory, and I'll take it, 7 days of the week and twice on Sunday. But overall, just like it, I'm with you. It's kind of like the Raiders kind of did it to themselves kind of deal. So I don't know. You went to a Bears bar, so out in Colorado. Like, what is the experience like out there before we jump into it? Being with Bears fans all across the country. Like, we travel well. We know that. It was Soldier Field West today. But how was it at the Bears bar today?
Yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up pretty well. The Bears travel. All Chicago teams travel. Chicago is one of the biggest sports markets in the country for a reason. My roommate was actually at the game in Vegas today. He sent his Snapchat. So that looked awesome. It looked like there were a ton of Bears fans there. Bears bar in Denver, a lot of people just coming together in a little bit of just trying to escape the misery of what's been, the first 4 games of the season. You can say we're 500, or before today we were 500. Wasn't a terrible start, all this stuff. It's been kind of in shambles, right? And so I think Bears fans kind of just connect on that level, whether you're from Chicago or you've just been a Bears fan your whole life. So it was a great experience, like being out and being someplace different other than the city and still being with Bears fans. That's something that I haven't really experienced since I've been out here. But there's just that Bears camaraderie, man, that you can never get by. I love it.
And were you drinking a fine Pilsner there, or were you drinking something different?
Why would I drink anything other than Miller Lite ever in my entire life?
It's true. There's no, well, there's times where there were Busch Light boxes on your head in college, but I think once you graduated, you decided to go to a fine Pilsner forever. Is that right?
Nick, we said not to unveil that to the public. I thought we had an agreement.
Okay, if the Bears win the Super Bowl, I'll bring out the video of Adam running around with a Busch Light on his head. How about that? How about that? So anyway, let's just go into it real fast. Bears, like Adam was saying, are now 3-2. They're above 500. They are in second place in the NFC North, right behind the Green Bay Packers, who had a super close game against the Cincinnati Bengals today. Went to overtime. Mason Crosby almost didn't. He could have won it earlier for him. Ended up winning it for him overall. So, the Packers just always seem to get away with that. They're in first place at 4-1. The Bears are 3-2 in second place. The Vikings defeated the Lions. So an NFC North matchup today. The Vikings are now 2-3. They beat the Lions today, who are now 0-5, 19-17 in Minnesota. So overall, the NFC North, big game next week. We're getting into that in a little bit about the Bears and the Packers next weekend, but big game coming up. Bears are 3-2 now. So let's go into the offense to start things off, Adam. Offense today raked up 252 yards total of offense. Not great, not bad. Rushing was 143 yards. That was definitely the positive of today. Passing yards, there was only 109 total passing yards, even though Justin Fields had actually 111. Overall, the total was 109 passing yards for the offense. So there were 19 first downs, and they were 6 for 13 on third down. Only 2 sacks allowed today by the Bears. But Adam, we were kind of talking about it off air. Justin Fields was running for his life. A lot of the beginning of the game, at least it felt like. Do you feel like the offensive line did a good job, or was it, like you kind of said earlier, the Raiders kind of beating themselves up?
Raiders beat themselves, man. I don't know how you could say the offensive line did a great job in this matchup. They were fantastic on third down in the first half, and then completely went to crap in the second half for seemingly no reason. They would get, first they would get an 8-yard gain on first down, and then 2nd and 2 they couldn't get a yard, and then 3rd and 2 they couldn't get a yard. It was really puzzling to me how you're exceptional on third down in the first half and terrible in the second half, which makes a big difference. Justin Fields was running for his life. I'm really sick of analysts and Twitter saying that Justin Fields needs to get out of the pocket. He's a scrambling quarterback. He's better on the run. You clearly didn't watch Justin Fields in college. I mean, granted, he had one of the best offensive lines in all of college football when he was at Ohio State, but he's a pocket passing quarterback. He has an absolute slinger of an arm. He is a gunslinger of a quarterback. He has legs that are exceptional. He runs a 4.4 40. He's incredibly fast. That is not his go-to, and that is not the way he should be played. He's not a Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky was a guy who was better on the run, better with his legs, better outside the pocket. And I see what people are saying because we don't have the offensive line to hold up, and I think that really showed today. But to say that, like, you need Justin Fields to get out of the pocket, they had a really good play. It was like 3rd and short. He read the blitz off the left side, and so they moved the pocket and they scrambled and then they rolled to the right, threw for a 5-6 yard gain and a first down. That's an exceptional play and a great play calling by Bill Lazor on that. We don't know if it was Lazor or Nagy because he won't tell us, right? But so that's an exceptional play, but you can't say the offensive line played great today, especially in the pass game, because Justin Fields was running for his freaking life, got injured almost like twice in the game. I'm thankful for Andy Dalton that we have Andy Dalton, because when a backup comes in, I don't feel like we're completely lost as a team. A lot of teams, their backup comes in. Derek Carr went out today and the Raiders looked lost, right? Like they don't know what they're doing.
Famous Nathan Peterman was out there.
Yeah. I mean, the guy has 4 touchdowns and 20 interceptions in his NFL career. Obviously, I think I'm exaggerating the numbers there, but you get my point.
3 and 12. 3 and 12.
3 and 12. 3 and 12. So, it's nice to be able to feel comfortable when a backup quarterback comes in if Justin Fields ever were to get hurt. Now, our offensive line is doing a terrible job of protecting him. I'm also kind of sick of hearing that Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet are exceptional run blockers, because if you watch the tape, it's literally abysmal. So all these analysts on ESPN that you hear that are like, oh, well, the tight ends are in and they're run blocking and all this stuff, it's awful. And I would love to break down the film of how abysmally bad our tight ends are at run blocking. Alex Bars, at first, I loved the 12 personnel that they were running, having Bars come in as a tight end, even using him in motion to read the defense, using him as an extra blocker. Dude, he can't block for crap. He's literally worse than our terrible run blocking tight ends. And if I see Damiere Byrd in a run blocking tight set one more time, I'm literally going to lose my mind. I do not get it. I do not understand why, when you have Allen Robinson, who's a very capable run blocker, when he tries, which is another conversation.
Yes.
Darnell Mooney, who's also an exceptional run blocker, especially for his size. But even if you disregard his size, he's an exceptional run blocker. And yet we're using offensive linemen in a 12 personnel set, which I loved off the bat, but they had to see in practice that wasn't going to work. I mean, he's just an abysmally bad run and pass blocker. So no, I thought the offensive line did not hold up today. Justin Fields was running for his absolute life. He had no time in the pocket, less than 3 seconds to throw almost every single snap. And it's honestly scary moving forward, because he is the future of this franchise and we can't protect him worth a damn.
Yeah. So great explanation, by the way. I was not expecting you to go that in depth with the offensive line, but they showed that one video of Jimmy Graham in the third quarter, like having that awesome pass block, like literally taking Khalil Herbert and just like throwing him over the first down. And then like he gets up and is cheered. And in my head, I'm in the same reaction. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's the first time this game you've actually done something as your position. I like Jimmy Graham a lot. I know that a lot of people don't like that Ryan Pace kept him. We got rid of Kyle Fuller, though Kyle Fuller is struggling pretty bad in Denver right now. I know that's been a
got beat twice today. Bad.
And like, so it's starting to look better that we kept Graham, but at the same time, we're not really using him. That's the other thing about the offense right now, is that we're not using the tight ends at all. And that's just something, when you have Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, who are much better receiving tight ends, they are not good run blocking tight ends. Like you were saying, they're not using their players to their best strengths. So, but that's also, you have to have run blocking tight ends. You can't put Alex Bars out there, who's not as athletic, not as fast. Yes, he's a lineman, but he's a lineman. He's not a tight end like you were saying. So
I liked it at first. I did like that. I thought it was a great concept, right? To kind of chip, to break up the line, to add more run blocking. Like, our run blocking is great. And we have some of the best guards run blocking in the entire NFL.
Right.
But oh my God, Alex Bars is terrible. He is abysmally bad. I'd rather have Jimmy Graham or Cole Kmet with at least the threat of them going out for a pass, as opposed to an Alex Bars play where there's no threat of him going out for a pass and he can't run block worth a damn, dude.
Yeah. Overall, that's why, again, why he's not the starter. That's why Ifedi, who went out today, unfortunately, with a knee injury, was the starter over Alex Bars. There was a conversation in the preseason who was going to start. Ifedi got the nod, especially when he was healthy. But Ifedi went out today with a knee injury. There's more to come on that, so we'll get into that a little bit. Let's go into Justin Fields, though, talking about passing, Adam. He went 12 for 20 today with 111 yards. And you're like, oh, my God, like, really? Like, 111 yards, that's it? And he had his first career passing touchdown to Jesper Horsted, so shout out Justin Fields for that. But, oh, my God, he couldn't do anything because he was running all over the field. He would have had a couple more if there was, some, like Marquise Goodwin had that sick catch that he was pushed out of bounds. It was like one-handed grab. He knew he was out. It was in the first half of the game, but that was a good 40-yard play. And then Allen Robinson on that pass interference call where Allen Robinson had hit his left hand and then went out of bounds later in the game. If he would have completed that, Justin Fields would have been close to 200 passing yards today. But overall, he had a good game. He had his first career passing touchdown, no interceptions, so that's always a plus. But, Adam, quick thoughts on Justin Fields' performance, going into Sin City in Las Vegas, like dealing with the Raiders, dealing with the crazy fan base, even though the Bears traveled super well and had a lot of pressure on the Raiders. Overall, how would you grade Justin Fields' day?
It's tough to put just like an initial letter grade. I think one play sums it up really well. There's a 3rd and 12 late in the game, and they're kind of running this like 6-minute offense. You hear about a 2-minute offense, you hear about a 4-minute offense. The Bears are really good, I think, in like 4 to 6 minute situations late in the fourth quarter. If they can get to a point where they have a lead and they're able to run the ball so effectively, but they needed to pick up a 3rd down, and Justin Fields drops back. The entire secondary for the Raiders was lined up on the sticks. They were protecting the sticks. Fields sees Mooney in the middle of the field. Mooney settles down right in between a gap in the zone, and Fields slings it in there. I mean, an absolute 100-mile-per-hour, just dime. Freaking Brett Favre-looking gunslinger dime, dude. It was beautiful. Mooney catches it. Huge first down. They move the sticks. They keep the clock moving. I thought that summed up his performance today better than any other play that I could pick, because he was running for his life most of the time, and we've already talked about that. And he was doing essentially what he can, but most importantly, he was taking care of the football. He was much more careful when he was under pressure to protect the ball, to secure the ball. Peyton Manning on the Manning broadcast talked about stepping up in the pocket. You got to turn your shoulder, right? You got to protect that ball, because you got a defensive end that's screaming around the corner. He's going to be ripping at that ball. And his day was Robert Mathis, right? Like that's where he learned from when he was practicing against Robert Mathis. All those defensive ends are going to be climbing for the ball. And Fields did a lot better job of protecting the football today, taking care of the football. And even if they didn't score a ton of points, which I do think it was a very sloppy game, he game managed very well. And that's not the type of quarterback he is. I don't think he's a Baker Mayfield type quarterback, even though the Bears are a run first team, which is good. But we'll get a chance to see him shine later on. And he's not a game manager quarterback, but he did a good job of doing what he needed to do today to get the win. And I feel like that's a very like vague general description of it. But if you look back at the game, he did what he needed to do when he needed to do it. If there was a 3rd and 12 to pick up, he fired it into Darnell Mooney. If he was ready, if he saw a hole in the line, he was ready to check down, right? To kill whatever play they had and run the damn ball. And I love that, because you can see the emotion that comes out. Like, if the defense makes a stop, you can see the emotion that comes out of Justin Fields, the desire to win, just how badly this kid wants to win. And I think that, above all, says so much. So today, I thought he did a really good job because he took care of the football a lot more. He's fumbled in a lot of games so far. Yeah. And he's really struggled with that. And he's recovered 2 of his own fumbles, so it doesn't necessarily show on the stat sheet like it probably should. But today he did a really good job game managing. He took care of the football, and he did what the Bears needed him to do to get the win under such duress and such stress, because he just really didn't have the protection that he probably should.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. I think that like each game he's going to get better at something, right? I mean, he's a rookie quarterback. In this game, I think that his most improved asset and skill that he got had to be his game management. And especially, he went out for a few plays. Andy Dalton came in, took over, and he was able to bounce right back and know exactly where he was going from. He didn't skip a beat. He looked really comfortable out there in all situations. Even, I mean, obviously you're not going to be comfortable when you got.
I actually disagree there. I don't think he looks comfortable.
You don't think he looks comfortable?
I think he manages despite being
more comfortable.
Yeah, okay, I'll concede that because like I think you can see him hitching a lot in the pocket, and I'm really sick of the 5-step drops. When they played the Browns, it was 5 and 7-step drops all day, and he was getting sacked and punished for it the entire time. The offensive line can't hold up enough, right? And so against the Lions, it was 3-step drop fire, maybe with a hitch, maybe with even 2 hitches, but he was getting the ball out. Today they went back to that 5-step drop, and every single time they did, he struggled. I'd love to see if you watch Tom Brady play per se, and it's a very different style of quarterback. I'm not trying to say Justin Fields is Tom Brady. Let's get that very clear. But if you watch Tom Brady, when he takes a snap out of the shotgun, he's not dropping back. He's not continuing to progress back. That makes it really, really tough on their tackles because defensive ends at that point can go down the field and still get to the quarterback, or they can cut in. It doesn't matter. Or they can bull rush. It opens up so many options, right? But when you sit there and you're in a shotgun and you take the snap and you sit exactly where you are, you're limiting what the defensive ends can do because if they run up the field, you step up in the pocket, you're already in good position where you are. This 5-step drop nonsense has got to stop. He's got to get the ball out quicker. And this was something that's probably the reason the 49ers did not draft him when they traded up in the first place. It's the reason why he slipped. It was the number one thing against him as a prospect coming to the NFL is that he takes too long to get rid of the ball. So anything your coach or offensive coordinator who's ever calling plays can do to put him in a better position to get rid of the football quicker, make quick reads, quick judgments, give him a one. I don't like Dan Orlovsky. I'm not a Dan Orlovsky fan, but the one thing I do agree with him on is don't make Justin Fields as a rookie quarterback read a defense. Give him a 1-2-3 read and let him get through his progressions, right?
Sure.
Especially because he's not the guy to get rid of the ball in under 2 seconds. He didn't do that in college. He had a phenomenal offensive line. He could sit back in the pocket, wait for Olave to get down the field to make a move, and just throw the ball 70 yards down the field and get a touchdown, right? Obviously, that's not going to work with this Bears offensive line. So I want to get rid of him dropping so far back. I want to cut down on that, really sit him in the pocket, teach him to step up and to make a quicker read, a 1-2-3 progression, which he's definitely getting better at. He's dramatically improving, but there's still a lot of room to improve a lot more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree. So I think we made a good agreement there that he doesn't look completely comfortable, but he looked more comfortable today. And hopefully, and next week against the Packers, obviously there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. So hopefully that's like something that because we all know that Bill Lazor and Matt Nagy totally watch this podcast. There is no doubt about it. They're gonna go and be like, you know what, Adam Kinross, that was the Madden coach in him right there going, yes, that is, we need to listen to him more. So Adam just got a job with the Bears.
If they did, maybe they would be 4-1 instead of 3-2. That's all I'm saying.
All you said, who would the loss have for sure been to, the Rams or the Browns?
The Browns. They were not going to beat the Browns under any circumstance.
Yeah. So, and then quick shout out before we go into the defense, shout out to the running backs. They were absolutely the guys who carried, no pun intended, run the damn ball. They carried the offense today. Khalil Herbert, rookie out of West Virginia. Virginia Tech. Gosh, I was so close. I was
good, bro. He's a 6th rounder. An absolute stud, man. I mean,
but
he really
75 yards and 75 yards and 18 carries, 4.2 yards per carry. And it was
how many
not
after
expected.
Contact? Probably 50% of those yards were after contact.
Yeah. Well, again, with the offensive line, like everything was after contact at that point. So but it was super impressive. And then Damien Williams too, who had the only rushing touchdown of the day, 16 carries for 64 yards, 4 yards per carry. You can't beat that. That is what the Bears needed. Continue to run the damn ball. So it's good that the Bears have that confidence in, Monty being out, that they have the backup, that when Monty comes back, there's going to be much more opportunity for them and much more threat on the field. So that's a huge pro there. So let's go to the defensive side of the ball. The defense, I thought they did fine today. I mean, they kept the Raiders 259 total yards of offense, a Raiders offense that was number 2 in total yards before this game. Only 188 passing yards or total passing yards from Derek Carr today. I'm so happy I put him on the bench for my fantasy team. 71 rushing yards. They couldn't rush the ball. Nothing was going on there. 3 sacks. Mack had 2 of them. Gibson had 1 of them. Robert Quinn's sack streak came to an end. I was really disappointed about it because I was like, gosh, this is so much fun that Mack and Quinn get a sack every single game. But Quinn was still doing a great job on the field. But Derek Carr, you wrote it, Adam, as a tweet. I said it in my game preview. You put pressure on Derek Carr, it's going to be a long day for him. And when they put the camera on him every single time he was sitting on the bench on the sideline, the man looked confused, tired, and scared. So, Adam, what were your thoughts overall about the defense? And, just the praise that we have to give to Sean Desai for doing so much better and unlocking this defense like it was a couple of years ago.
The bend don't break is phenomenal. I think at one point in the first half, the announcers said that when they were interviewing Roquan Smith, they asked him, so you're kind of a bend don't break defense. What are your thoughts on that? And he goes, kind of works for me, right? They don't allow anything in the red zone, which is, dude, take all the yards you want, drive down the field. If you're forcing your opponent to score 3 points in the NFL, you're going to win. With the exception of maybe sometimes the Bears because their offense can be so abysmal. But if you're bending and not breaking, which they truly are bending and not breaking as an offense, it's fantastic. Travis Gibson is a stud, man. An absolute stud. And I'm not saying you're going to take over for Quinn or Mack, but to have that depth there, to give Mack a breather, to give Quinn a breather, to give whoever on the line a breather on those passing downs is so good, especially on your first and second down when it's not a passing down. He can play the run really well, and he's been an absolute stud. So depth in the running back position, like you were just talking about with Herbert and Williams stepping in for an injured Monty. Depth on the defensive line as our linebackers, as Travis Gibson can step up and fill in for Khalil Mack, who is aging. He's getting older. I'm not saying he's old. I'm not saying he's washed. I'm just saying he is starting to age. So having that depth there is dramatically helpful for the defense to relieve some pressure. And I am just so incredibly impressed with our secondary. I shit on them against the Rams. Absolutely was so disgusted with how poorly they played, especially Eddie Jackson.
Yes,
and I'm not saying Eddie Jackson is back to this all-pro player that he was, but the secondary is playing in unison, right? They're playing together. They're passing off when they need to. So there was a goal to go situation where the Raiders were goal to go, and they motioned someone over from the left to the right side of the formation. And it was very similar to Davante Adams against the Rams. This is a very specific memory last year. Davante Adams motions over against the Rams. Ramsey tries to run across with him. There's no communication. Davante Adams ends up wide open in the flat off the motion, and Ramsey absolutely loses his mind because no one picked him up. The Raiders tried that exact same thing today, and the Bears communicated so well that motion receiver, I think it was Henry Ruggs, I'm not 100% sure, I think it was Henry Ruggs, was picked up right away from a switch, and they ended up stopping them because Khalil Mack got a sack. It was a 2-point conversion. That's what it was. It was a 2-point conversion. Yes. Khalil Mack ended up getting a sack on that play because there was nowhere for Derek Carr to go with the ball. We took away that first read. He thought they would get that motion. He thought he read man coverage, and they switched beautifully. The communication is there. The preparation is there. And you can just see how well the secondary is really gelling. So I thought the defense played really well. You're getting pressure on the quarterback. You were making Derek Carr uncomfortable. Josh Jacobs was not having his way with us, which was dramatically important for both the pass rush as well as just the defense in its entirety, because if they can run the ball, they can essentially do whatever they want. So I was very impressed with the defense today. I thought they stepped up in a great and very important way. And I love what our defense is doing. I'm very excited to see how they game plan and continue to play against teams like the Packers and make them uncomfortable. Because if the Bengals can make the Packers uncomfortable today, then the Bears can easily definitely make the Packers uncomfortable when we play them next week.
Optimistic Bears fans, that's how we like to do it. And one thing that I want, right? Hey, that's you did what they do in the movies. Like when they say the line of the show, you're like, there it is right there.
You need to zoom in on my face right there.
Yes. It has to happen. One thing I want to call out really fast is that you called it out earlier. You remember on the 2006 Chicago Bears, Mark Anderson? Does that name ring a bell? He was a defensive end. He was a rookie. He came on the scene and he had 11 sacks for the Bears in the Super Bowl season. And he kind of reminds me, Travis Gibson kind of reminds me of that. He came on the scene, a lot of low expectations, and he's ripping it up. It was his second career sack, a second game in a row with a sack. So when he gets playing time, he's taking advantage. And, you had Alex Brown and Alawalo Ogulie for the Bears back in 2006. You got Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack. And then you got this third young guy, Travis Gibson, like Mark Anderson. So you need depth. That's just so key. Like you can't just rely on your starters. Next man up, and Travis Gibson. I'm really happy you brought that up. He's really doing an impressive job, because early in the preseason, I said he was going to get cut because he had a really bad game against the Dolphins, and he has bounced back significantly since. So shout out to him. Quickly, before we go into the final section of the thing, just quick shout out on special teams. Cairo Santos with 34 field goal attempts made in a row, the closer. Shout out Santos. Love that I drafted him on my fantasy team as a kicker. I hope you guys did too. And Xavier Crawford, a guy who barely made the roster for the Chicago Bears. He is looking like an awesome special teams guy we need to keep around for a minute. He's always on punts. Guys have to call fair catches because he's always right there. He's there immediately. And if they do return it, he's the first guy getting a hit on him, slowing him down, doing what he has to do. So very impressive from him. I'm glad the Bears are feeling more confident on special teams. I know that was a worry for a lot of people, but they're looking fine. Special teams is looking fine so far. Adam, any quick comments on special teams besides Santos?
Besides taking that punt out, I thought Jakeem Grant was great.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job taking that punt out of the end zone to the 18-yard line. Sure, it was only a loss of 2 yards. And I'm sure Nagy had told them before the game, like, you're running everything out. So I'm not trying to blame Grant. He was probably told to do that. I just don't think it was a smart decision. Like, don't risk injury. Don't risk physicality on something like a punt return when it's just totally unnecessary and you're back in your own end zone. Let the punt go. Yeah. Cairo Santos, dude. I mean, what a stud from a team that had so much to worry about with, like, when he comes in, my heart rate lowers, which is something that just kickers don't do to fans ever. Like, even if you're Justin Tucker, right? Like, coming in, you're always just nervous if there's a kick on the line. And the kick that he made was so incredibly clutch to put him up by 2 possessions. It's going to go unnoticed. It's going to go not thanked enough. He's an absolute stud. He's been a saving grace for an organization that was plagued by Cody Parkey, who missed 2 extra points today and a field goal, 2 extra points.
Yeah.
I don't know. He missed like 2 or 3 kicks today. And there were 11 missed extra points today across the NFL, just on Sunday alone across the noon and 3 o'clock games. So we really need to appreciate this man because he's absolute dynamite, dude. And that is so incredibly important, especially when you struggle in the red zone like the Bears do, because they don't use their tight ends. But Santos, an absolute stud. And I'm pretty pleased with our special teams.
Last question before we close out. How does Cody Parkey keep getting signed? Like, he's everywhere.
11. How many fucking kicks, right? Like, I mean, everyone's seen the Barstool Carl video. I don't get it, dude. The dude is such a bum. Like, get out of the NFL. Hey, NFL GM, sign destroying. If you want a good kicker, sign destroying. I don't know how the kid is nailing 70-yarders like it's nothing. And the kid is not signed. And instead, we're signing Cody Parkey.
Cody Parkey.
Get the fuck out, dude.
He's making good money, too. Yeah, and like,
he's
why?
A bum.
He's a bum. Okay, we're going to end it on a Bears win. Bears take on the Packers next Sunday, 3-2, going against 4-1. NFC North matchup at Soldier Field. Adam, one thing you want to see next week, super fast, 30 seconds against the Packers.
Offense needs to show up because the Packers are going to score points. We need to run the ball well. We need to work off action. And our receivers need to not quit on the play. I'm talking about you, Allen Robinson. And if you're curious what I'm referencing here, go look at my most previous tweet because I'm so sick of a guy demanding top 5 money, quitting on almost any single play that he doesn't touch the ball. So you got to score points offensively against the Packers. You're going to lose the game. Defense can do all it wants. If we can hold them under 21, I think it's up to the offense at that point. Yeah. That's all I'll say.
Couldn't agree more. I don't want to sound like a broken record, so I'll go with one other thing is we need to find a way to do what we did to Derek Carr today and just put pressure on Aaron Rodgers. That's what happened in 2018. That's the last time the Bears defeated the Packers at Soldier Field, and that's what they got to do again. So Put pressure on Aaron Rodgers, you'll win the game. And because he physically, like on camera, gets frustrated and he's calling guys out on the field.
He's been screaming at his team.
Screaming at guys, because this is it. This is the last dance. Like, of course, he had to steal Michael Jordan's,
What a bum.
What a bum.
What an absolute bum, dude. Anyways.
Bum. Aaron Rodgers, bum. It is what it is. Get pressure on him. He'll lose the game. But Adam, as always, thank you very much for hopping on this episode. I hope you enjoyed the Bears bar, but we'll probably have you on in the next 2 weeks or something like that, right?
Of course. I would love to come back on.
Yeah. And again, make sure you go follow Adam's YouTube page. Great Madden content there if you're a Madden player. And we're very excited to have him on as always. So with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside my good friend and special guest, Adam Kinross from Kinney Games. And we will see you guys next time.